it true that you're in the middle of a nervous breakdown?
No, who said that?
I'm done. I'm done dancing for the man. I'm never gonna answer to anyone ever again.
There's always Barber College.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Steel Sanctuary Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Ribeiro from SteelSanctuary.com. I'm here with Bob Quinn. David Korb will be joining us shortly, and Trent is on the fence. He's having technical issues, so he may pop in later on. Bob, the Steelers had a free agent signing, but not that one. Not that one, you think. It's not Uncle Aaron. He's not coming home just yet. They signed Robert Woods, free agent wide receiver from the Houston Texans last season. I mean, the underwhelming offseason continues. That's all I can say.
We were talking about this in prep. I don't hate this signing. I don't. He's shown the last couple of years he was okay in Houston. I mean, he's not the 1,000-yard receiver he was 5-6 years ago. But, are you asking me if something falls apart and we're somehow down to Robert Woods? I mean, it's a pretty big upgrade over Van Jefferson. So
yeah. It's a low bar, but I guess you're right. It is a upgrade over them. I mean, we were just talking about some of the other guys that are available, like Elijah Moore maybe, or somebody like that, or a DJ Chark. But the Steelers they have a type. The 33, 34, 35-year-old guy.
Well, that wasn't their type for a very long time.
It wasn't. You're right.
But theoretically, in a perfect world, Woods is just your break glass in case of emergency guy. Yeah. If he is seeing a lot of playing time, then either Calvin Austin's regressed or somebody finally broke out a height chart and said, "Hey, kid, you're too small to ride the NFL." Woods he's a nice, reliable veteran player who, if there's injury, if you need a guy to come in and catch the ball on third down, okay, fine. He's a guy you can have. And, he's a guy who's been on a lot of moving trains. So I think he's played for 5 or 6 teams. Or, no, I'm sorry, 4 teams.
Yeah. Does this worry you at all about Roman Wilson? Or is this just a veteran ad to fill out the roster, the 90-man roster?
I think it's just a veteran ad.
I think so, too.
I mean, he's a good, like I said, he's not – before, I think, with Allen Robinson, we were counting on him to be a big part of the team. Van Jefferson ended up as the number 2.
Yeah.
So I think it's unquestioned here that Robert Woods, who is also the kind of player who likes to run those drag routes and that veteran, that could just be another indication, hey, maybe Aaron Rodgers says, hey, go get me that guy because I like how he plays.
Could be. We also, we were looking on chat, too, that Arthur Smith had him in his last year in Tennessee, so Arthur Smith's familiar with him. So I guess that's all right. Like I said, if he makes the team, he's the wide receiver 5. So it's not the end of the world. It's just, again, underwhelming is the best word I can use for some of these.
Even if he's wide receiver 3 because he just is more consistent than Austin and Wilson, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because let's face it, Steelers are 12 personnel more than almost anybody.
True. A couple more news and notes before we get to our draft review. Ryan Watts unfortunately had to retire because of that neck injury he suffered in the last preseason game of last year. It's too bad. You never want to see a kid like that have to retire because of an injury, but it's better to retire and be safe than try to push it and really hurt yourself. So I guess all in all, it's what's best for him.
I totally agree. I mean, he had injury history coming in, but then he hurt his neck as well. I mean, I do. I still didn't understand the draft pick last year. He seemed to be a pretty decent special teams player in the preseason.
It was kind of intriguing as, like, I know he was a corner in college, but they were talking about moving him to safety. That was kind of intriguing. I was kind of, and he tested halfway decent, so it was kind of a good, dart throw that late in the draft. I think he was a 6th-round pick, so
yeah,
it was worth a shot.
I totally I get the idea of it, personally, and we're going to talk about undrafted free agents the next show because we're going to go through the draft class. But I mean, Sebastian Castro is I cannot wait to talk about him because I really like. I don't even understand how he went undrafted. I don't, but luckily, when we get into the draft, we can talk about how the Steelers just decided to save money on uniforms and bring in a bunch of Iowa players.
They had an Iowa thing for sure, 100%. What else do I have before we get to the draft? Montravius Adams got cut today. Kind of a little surprising to me. There's some bodies on that defensive line that I thought they would cut before they got to Montravius Adams. Loudermilk comes to mind right off the bat. Yeah, you don't even bring him to camp. It's kind of odd to me.
It's another reason why I now love Yaya Black because he enabled us to cut. I mean, I didn't get the Montravius Adams love the last few years.
He was okay. He was a serviceable backup nose, I guess.
Well, remember in Ben's last year when they were so bad against the run, and all of a sudden they brought in Montravius, and
he had a couple good games there, and everyone got excited.
But
yeah,
I feel like we held on to him for too long. And, we needed an upgrade over him. He was kind of an undersized nose. Don't get me
He was.
The guy plays 2 or 3 years. He's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it. So, I think at this point, it's going to be interesting because they think Black has kind of got that, Kenneth Grant, not great measurables, but if it works out with that body type, he could be really, really good. He's a little bit bigger. And I've heard some people compare him to Casey Hampton. He's a little bit bigger than Casey Hampton.
He's bigger, believe it or not, than Casey Hampton. Yeah.
I mean, the top, I feel like, is a little more upgraded because I've been a big fan of Keanu Benton. He didn't play great last year. He had his moments. Now you've got Derek Harmon, you got Cam Hayward, you got Yaya Black. And now all of a sudden those guys behind in a 3-4, your top 4, I think are a little better than the top 4 were last year because you could arguably say Montravius Adams was in that top 4 last year. And I think, look, if Montravius Adams is your 6th or 7th best defensive lineman, you're probably pretty good. If he's your 4th, you're probably not very good.
I'm looking at this list of defensive linemen. I mean, is he that much worse than Dean Lowry? I think he's better than Isaiah Loudermilk, to be honest with you. There's a couple guys I would have gone through before I got to him. I don't know.
But then you got guys like Logan Lee out there who they're said to be high on. So, and they've signed, every off the wall defensive lineman depth piece in the NFL in the offseason.
They have Daniel Ukele. I got to work on his name.
Yeah.
They got the guy Dominique Davis, who I don't know much about, and Asezi Adeweno. They just signed him not too long ago. So it's a deep room. I would like to go back to the tape and see how he played in that Ravens game because he must have been one of the culprits of that bad game, and that's why the Steelers probably couldn't wait to get rid of him.
Well, that's pretty much the whole defense, which is why when we get into it here in a minute or two, why some of the moves. It really seemed like, and we talked about this a little bit during the day 3 of the draft. It almost seems like they've massively overreacted to the Ravens running for 300 yards. And
I tend to agree with you, Bob. I tend to agree with you. I do think that's the case. Dave's coming on. Let's give him a chance to get on, and he can jump in the conversation. Dave, welcome to the show. You look a little disheveled there, buddy. All right?
I'm bruised and battered, but I made it.
Excellent. We were just talking about Montravius Adams getting cut. And I was telling Bob, there's a couple players on that roster that I would have cut before Montravius Adams. I don't know how you feel about it. Loudermilk.
When they first got him, and he did well, but last year he really fell off and didn't do much at all. So, when you draft 2D linemen, that kind of makes him expendable. So, I'm not surprised. You knew somebody had to go. And they're paying him what? It depends on what they're paying him, too.
I think it was
$2.1
million or something. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to save $2 million,
that's a good point. probably the highest paid of all the expendable defensive linemen. Now that you
Right.
mention
Of
that.
all the depth players,
Yeah.
you ain't paying a depth player $2 million, 2.1, whatever. So he was going
You
to
want to give your quick thoughts on the Robert Wood signing?
Yeah, I was like, why? But then I saw that fake Twitter thing that said he had 1,200 yards receiving. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what? But then that ended up not being true, thanks to you. So I was just like,
I fell for it too because I made fun of the signing right off the bat. Then I saw that post. I'm like, wait a minute, do I have to retract that post?
right.
Did he really have 1,200 yards and 60 catches? And I'm like, no, the guy was faking it.
So I guess a mentor, like we keep playing this stupid mentor game for George Pickens. I wish they'd just give the fuck up. They've tried how many people? You're not going to mentor the kid. Just shut up. Quit adding people that are going to have zero impact. It doesn't make any sense.
I guess to fill out the 90-man roster, it's fine. I don't think they can cut him pretty easily.
It's the same stupid shit. He's a mentor and he can block. Great. Like, I don't care.
I don't know if you caught it. He did play for Arthur Smith in Tennessee for one season. That last season when Arthur was there. So there's a connection there too.
There's a gesture I'd like to make to that.
And
but
in
I won't do
fairness,
it.
I mean, let's not forget Robert Woods, though, did have a couple of years where he was a top 15 wide
Yeah,
receiver in the NFL.
yeah.
looked at it, but it's been since
like
2020.
8 years ago, though,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it's been a while. I mean,
it's-
well, it is what it is. They have a type. These 33, 34-year-old free agents, they just love it. So we're gonna have to just get used to it. Guys, we have a chance to see Kenny Pickett to Deontay Johnson next season. Deontay Johnson visited the Browns today. I mean, you just got to scratch your head when you talk about the Cleveland Browns. He's the best free agent wide receiver on the market right now. If you can keep his head on straight.
No.
Oh yeah, he is.
I think Keenan Allen's probably the best, even though he is.
Okay, maybe Keenan Allen. You can make the argument for Keenan Allen.
Yeah, until Keenan Allen, his play starts going down, he's probably one of those top guys. It's
All right, I forgot about him. That's a good point.
because I
All right, so
thought
he's
he was
second.
cooked. I thought he was cooked this past season, and then he just roared back out.
You know, in fairness, Amari Cooper's only 30, and he's out there. So
Yeah.
He had a down year though. Like I don't know if he's on the down end of his. I don't know, but he had a down year too.
he
Keenan
played-
Allen's going to be 34 this year, so
Yeah, and Amari Cooper kind
got
of
Steeler written all over him.
He went to the
Cooper
Bills.
Cooper. Yeah, he didn't do much with the Browns. Then got traded to the Bills. I'm pretty sure he had a couple games where he didn't do nothing. Like there was.
It seemed like Josh Allen almost didn't want to make him as a. I mean, he had Shakur,
priority,
he had
yeah.
Coleman, he had Kincaid. I mean, it almost feels like Cooper came in and became wide receiver 3-4,
Oh,
even though
I'm
he
sorry.
probably should have been 1-2.
The chat's saying that Deontay Johnson signed. Is that true? I didn't see it.
see that. I didn't see that on Twitter. I just saw that he visited.
Well,
You know,
maybe he did.
I mean, good for them. I mean, he's going to have 5 different quarterbacks to throw to him. So
Oh, the Bengals are
What?
signing Deontay Johnson. God damn it.
whoa.
Hold on, though. That's okay because he is no better than wide receiver 4 in Cincinnati. He
Who's
is
three?
not T. Shivas.
Who is it?
Shivas from Princeton.
But
Yeah,
that
that-
kid Shivas doesn't play the slot, does he?
yes,
he
he
does.
does.
Does
He's
he?
got no choice.
Okay.
That's the only place he's going to play.
I thought he was a backup on the outside, but
No. And I tell you what, but that wide receiver core, holy shit.
if they get Deontay Johnson's head on straight, he's going to be the slot receiver. They're going to be fucking unstoppable.
Oh,
He's
I'm
not
telling
going to
you right
beat
now.
out. He's not going to beat out that Princeton kid.
Oh, I
He's
guess
not.
he is, Bob.
No.
Deontay Johnson.
I don't know,
On-
but if they go 4 wide receiver sets, good luck.
Yes. Now in a 4 wide receiver,
That's a good
set,
sign for them.
It's scary,
Oh, it's an excellent signing. Fuck.
but he really started to emerge this year, especially with T. Higgins missing some time. You know,
Wait a minute. Well, I'm getting Relic saying the Browns. I'm kind of confused here.
Zach Smith put on
Yeah.
here the Bengals are signing veteran wide receiver Deontay Johnson.
Oh, wait a minute. Mike
I mean,
Garofalo
if
was
he goes to
reporting
the Browns. He's
the
number 1.
Browns.
Well, that's
We got
interesting.
conflicting reports here. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Well, obviously, Greg's mic might not work, but his Googling of news works great.
Yeah, I mean JPA. I mean, take it for what's worth. JPA football is saying the Browns are doing it. So
I hope he's going to the Browns over the Bengals.
Allen just said Cleveland. So
I
Who
don't.
said?
Allen Saunders.
Yep. All right, must be Cleveland.
Dollar Bill chiming in with
Wow.
Browns. Welcome to the
All
show,
right.
Dollar Bill. Happy to have you.
All right, he's a Cleveland Brown. I think we've. Zach's tweet is a joke. I guess I didn't read it. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, I didn't notice that either.
You know,
I didn't read it through. He's a Cleveland Brown.
can you make the argument he's automatically their number one?
I'm trying to think in my head who else is in Cleveland right now. As
I
wide
mean,
receivers.
And Joku.
I mean, tight end, yeah, but wide receiver wise, yeah. I mean,
Because
Yeah.
Elijah Moore, they didn't resign.
I think I'd have somebody better than that. Let me look it up real quick.
I
Yeah,
don't think they
I'm
do.
doing it as we speak.
They had that one guy that went off a couple games for them. I can't remember what his name was, but he was decent. But
Yeah, you're right. They got Cedric Tillman, Jamari Thrash.
Tillman,
Jerry
Tillman.
Judy. Jerry
Tillman.
Judy. They got Jerry Judy.
oh yeah, duh.
Say second best
Almost
receiver.
I almost
I
forgot
forgot
about
about I forgot about him too.
All right. One last note before we get to the draft. Mike Sullivan. Both Mike Sullivans are no longer with us in Pittsburgh. But to the Steelers, they didn't even announce anything. They just took his name off the coaching thing, and somebody noticed it. It's pretty crazy.
He's kind of a consultant at this point, wasn't he? Because
Yeah.
Tom Arthur was the quarterback
He was
coach.
something like that. He took another little small gig. It wasn't nothing.
Yeah. After his little
Yeah.
gig as the co-offensive coordinator there for one season. All right.
Yeah, that-
Let's get to the any further thoughts on Sullivan before we get to the draft stuff?
So
No,
I mean,
not at
look,
all.
I like the move personally as a Pens fan. We're actually having a standard here. It's been how many years? They've looked horrible with our stars. I also don't think it's all in Sullivan either. You're gonna get me on a Pens rant. But I'm just gonna let it go. They're not the only team that should be doing this, but yeah, okay.
Hey, Vaughn's got a poor Flacco or Flacco or however the fuck you say his name. I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think the competition is Kenny Pickett versus Flacco for either the starter veteran backup role, and the rest of it is Shador and Dylan Gabriel have to make the team because they drafted him?
Yeah,
I have no idea what they're doing. I have a feeling that one of the two veterans could end up getting cut, and they
Yeah.
keep the two rookies.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
what I
they-
think.
All right, so follow-up question. Sorry to cut you off. If Pickett loses that competition and Uncle Aaron doesn't sign,
No,
No.
not going back there, dude.
That
Not
bridge
going
is-
back there.
That bridge
What's
was
really-
burned long ago.
News has come out about Sanders' dad demanding to be at the meeting with the Browns, and his son
That's not. I think that's fake.
doesn't.
I
That's
think
fake
it's
too.
fake because I went to his actual account and checked to see like all the stuff he's been saying, and none of that's on there. I think a lot of people are using AI, and it makes it just. It's making things fucking horrible now.
Now that we're on the subject, any final thoughts on the whole Sanders thing? I guess it's come out that it's starting to come out now that he was a real dick in these interviews, and he might have cost himself a couple rounds by being too cocky.
Maybe.
Somebody made the point, and I think it's a great point. If you didn't think he was a starter right away, then he's not the type of player you want as your backup quarterback because he's going to be a pain in the ass. And a lot of teams said once they made the decision he wasn't a first-round pick and maybe he's going to have to be a backup for a year, they're like, forget it. I'd rather have somebody else than have to deal with him. Oh, Trent's on.
our man. There we go.
Oh,
There we go.
Hey, you made it, Trent.
That was the fastest I've ever gotten a fucking vitamin hooked up internet in my entire life.
Good job, buddy. We haven't even started the draft stuff yet.
Dude, I ran. It took 35 minutes of driving up there, 35 minutes of driving back, and like 8 minutes of setup.
I
Done.
just hopped on about 5 minutes ago myself, Trent. So I feel your pain. Trust me.
I just want to say one thing about Shador because everybody knows I liked him and I thought we should have drafted him. But all this fucking bullshit that went over the top. I mean, look, Mel Kiper, we kind of made a joke about it in the intro. Mel Kiper, I mean, come on, man. I mean, you're too well respected to go crazy like that.
Not anymore.
And to give the Browns an A+ after drafting 14 quarterbacks with 8 picks.
Right.
I mean, come on, bro. I mean,
credibility has been lost by a lot of these guys. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing the way he acted during the draft, and now the way he hands out his grades. He's just completely embarrassed himself. Like Bob said, to give them an A+ after that idiotic shit they just pulled. How many of you think that that was the owner? Saying,
I think 100%.
Taking Shedeur. When they panned to them, that video of they
blink if you're in trouble, guy, because he wouldn't even. He was just staring off in his face.
They looked like they were at a funeral, going.
Well, it's kind of been
it was
debunked,
what is that? Wow.
Has it been debunked?
Yeah, it's been debunked that wasn't their reaction. It was from another thing.
Are you kidding me? AI again, or whatever you want to call it. I'm sick of this shit.
I don't know what Trent. I don't know what Trent thinks, but I do want to say one other thing. And this whole prank thing, going after this kid in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Everybody got pranked. It's coming out now. 15
Tyler Warren got pranked. Yeah, he did a couple of guys. Yeah, they could take draft picks away from Atlanta. They could fire that defensive coordinator for letting that number loose. There's a lot of things that are still to come.
You want to punish that kid? First of all, you don't punish his dad. I mean,
the dad's got to be more careful. Yeah, he's got to be more responsible with the number. Can't just leave it out where his kid can get at it. You know,
his kid is 21. Isn't he an adult?
Yeah, he's not really.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I think it's time to quit calling him a kid and fry that motherfucker.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm sorry. I just when we're talking. Oh, he's a kid. No, he's not. He's not a fucking.
No, you're
kid.
right.
He's a grown ass
man.
Right. And he fucking did something horrible to multiple people. That kid fry.
He's 21 years old. So everybody he pranked, make him go to training camp and participate in an Oklahoma drill.
Or at least apologize in person to all those people.
I thought you
were
just going to say apologize to all of them, but all right.
Oh,
that's amazing.
The kid called Sanders and apologized. Okay, yeah, fair enough. If you're man enough to call up and say, "Hey, man, I was joking."
But worse should happen, but okay.
It's not something you should be fucking around with. Those guys, especially Shedeur, he was having a rough night.
That is a moment these men have worked for their entire lives. Don't take that from them. Don't do that to them. That's just messed up.
Yeah, that's definitely taking away their moment, their chance to enjoy a lifelong dream coming true. I hated that. I hated seeing that. I don't like Shedeur. I could care less about what happens to him for most of his life, but that was awful.
I got your message, brother. I'll look at it.
We were talking about
sign anywhere. I didn't see.
I think he did. I want to say he did. I don't know which team, but he did sign.
Who was it?
Shiloh.
Tampa Bay.
Okay. I knew he signed it.
Yeah, I think he's
just doing all the favors.
Yeah.
Because that's where
we were talking just before you got on, Trent. It's come out now that he didn't do himself any favors during this. We kind of knew it, but now people are really starting to talk. He was really bad in these interviews, really entitled. I heard one team that wasn't named, but they were like, we set up an install. We asked him about plays. He wouldn't answer. He's like, I don't do that. That's not it. And it's like, dude, he cost himself. He probably would have been a second round pick if he would have just kept his mouth shut and went through the process. But
if he played, personally, I think if he plays in the Senior Bowl or the Shrine Bowl, he was probably a first round pick.
He didn't. He definitely didn't do any favors.
Yeah. So
the Steelers definitely saved themselves some drama, I think, by passing on him. You just don't. A lot of teams, that's the way they felt. We don't need, you don't need your backup quarterback gaining this much aggravation and attention, and nobody needs that.
Deion's definitely taking a lot of blame in this as well. I mean, he propped this kid up as if you need me. He's talking to the other NFL teams, you need me more than I need you. And it turns out that through 4 rounds, that just wasn't the case. No one needed him through 4 rounds.
No. I kept crazy. This is the biggest psyop in the history of college football. Deion just made it his life's mission to make his kid a first round pick. He took him to Jackson State, then he took him to Colorado. He made it all about him. The press stuff, getting on the ball all the time. Never signing a running back because they had no intentions of running the ball. It was just pad his stats. And it blew up in their face. The kid's a second-round talent.
It would be It would be interesting to see if, like the rumors floated around today, that Ewers and Sanders both had NIL deals, and they would have both had to transfer to get them, but like $7-8 million on the table. I think if Shedeur had transferred and flourished under another coach, and the same thing with Ewers, if he goes back,
that's a
he
great
probably
point.
is a first-round pick next year.
No,
they said Ewers lost about $7 million leaving Texas and going to the draft.
Yeah,
it's nuts, man.
The writing was on the wall. They want Arch. I mean,
he would have had to transfer for sure, but I'm sure there's teams that would have taken him. Shit, the kid from Georgia got $4.5 million from Miami, and he had a crappy year. So
he was terrible.
Yeah, Ewers could have got money.
Yeah.
All right, want to start doing the draft? Let's do it.
Absolutely. Let's pop the draft up on the screen here. Whoops, hit the wrong button. Present, share screen. Talk about our guys here. This is from Steelers.com, by the way. If anybody wants this graphic or whatever, just go to Steelers.com and you can find it.
All right. Let's start with Derek Harmon. Who wants to go first? Bob, you go first.
All right. So, he kind of what I said the other day on Derek Harmon. I'm still a B on him. Number one, if he's healthy and he plays, I think he's an A-ish player. But that labrum, it could be 2 years, it could be 3 years, it could be the third practice. At some point, that needs surgery. I would prefer, honestly, if he had the surgery immediately and maybe had a chance to come back 3-4 games into the season. But, I mean, I like to play. Look, bottom line is he's, being the third or fourth best defensive lineman in this class is pretty damn good. He's a nice player. You can kind of see, I get the Cam Hayward comparisons when you watch him on tape. I kind of see it. I think he may even be a little more polished than Cam was coming out of Ohio State. Whether he's going to turn into that long-term in the NFL, I don't know. But then again, if your plan is to go into a 6-man rotation post Hayward, that's an awfully nice piece to have.
But Dave, what do you think?
Look, I give it an A. I think this was a good pick. He's top 4 in a lot of defensive categories. He led the nation in pressures with, I think, 55. Next guy behind him had 11 less. It fits a need. He was ranked in some mocks ahead of Nolan and Grant. That's the way the draft fell. It fell the way it did. I like the pick. Look, they needed to get a D lineman. So I like the pick. I like the idea of him, Benton, and if somehow Cam still got it, that could be really good. Now, like what Bob said, the labrum is a concern though. So there's like a little asterisk next to that. But no, I like the pick. I give it an A.
Trent, what do you think?
So I'm gonna preface this 2 different ways. The player itself is an A- for me. I think the player is a great fit. It was the right position to attack in the first round of this draft. And then I think the part that I could look at also is something that Dave, you and I talked about it in the immediate reaction is left a lot of value on the table. I felt like if they would have gotten into the trade game, I mean, how much value did we leave on the table of possibly getting a 2026 first round pick? I find it hard to imagine like any first round talent trading back. You still could have gotten somebody, even if it wasn't Harmon. There were so many guys left on the board at that point in time that you could have filled another position or even the same position. Tyleik Williams went 30? So like 29, I forget where he went, but like somewhere in that ballpark, like you still could have gotten a position and I think picked up a ton of options. So from that standpoint, I'm giving it a B-. Like Harmon, the player though.
Yeah, I'm kind of lockstep with you. I mean, he's 6'5", 300 plus pounds, 35-inch arms. He's like made in the lab to be a Steeler defensive lineman. The trade value thing is where I'm exactly with you on it. I'll give it a solid B. It would be an A if I didn't know about the Falcons trade and that first 2026 first rounder was out there to be had. I just don't think you can justify saying Derek Harmon, we can't trade off him because he's too good. In this draft with so many defensive tackles and there were other needs on the team, we get it. You know, me and Bob talked on prep or in the podcast. Their ass is hurting from that Ravens loss, and this whole draft showed it. And they were determined to fix that. So, and I think that kind of clouded their judgment, especially when it comes to the possible trade down. I mean,
their mindset was you can't have a divisional opponent eliminating you from the playoffs in the way they did. That's what bothers them. The way the Ravens did it. And
it's no guarantee they play Baltimore in the playoffs next year.
And they couldn't stop it. I know, but it's a division opponent doing it. And I think that's what bothers them the most.
I get it, but it's still, man. I talked about this on the last pod. I think we're short-term thinking. The Steelers are all in 2025. They don't seem to really think past this year. They're so determined at signing, you know, when you sign a 34-year-old corner and today a 33-year-old wide receiver, and you're so determined that I got to fix the problem of the Ravens this year. You left a first-round pick on the table. I just
who do you think they should have taken? Hampton?
No, I think if they stay, it's Harmon. I'm fine with Harmon. It's but trade down, get that 2026 first rounder. And whatever the best player is at 34, I think it was 34 that the Falcons were in the second round, or 38. Just take that player. You could have had Alfred Collins in the third. You could have had Farmer in the third. They're not Harmon, but they're not terrible either.
Well, you wonder if the word was not out, because Atlanta traded specifically to jump right in front of the Eagles and get that pick. And there was rumors that the Rams wanted that guy too. So maybe the rumors hadn't kicked in yet because nobody expected, hey, the Steelers are this, and they were far enough down the board because it was 5 picks later with the Rams that all of a sudden the Falcons go, oh, shit, we got to get up there. So I don't think that number 1 pick was out there for the Steelers unless you had seen somebody 22 to 25 want that linebacker. Then all of a sudden,
but the higher you pick up, the higher you get up in the draft, the more guaranteed you are to get the guy you want. You know what I'm saying? I think you're partially right. I think the Steelers let it be known that they're not trading out. So I think the Falcons probably didn't call the Steelers because everybody in the draft knew the Steelers weren't open for business. They were going to take Harmon if he was available. So they probably didn't call. But that's flawed thinking in my opinion. You're always open for business until you're not.
I also think too. Yeah. I also think too, like you have to think we're not just going to go after a quarterback next year. We're going to be in the market for a wide receiver too. George Pickens is not guaranteed to be here. So as of right now, where you're thinking he's more likely not to be here than to be here. And you're going to want to replace that with a high end pick. So if you had that extra first round pick and you're getting all this extra comp picks and stuff, like trade ups can really become a real thing. And you can fill 2 super high positions of need. Then you also need corner. Darius Slay's on a 1-year deal. Like I would have taken the capital if it was me, even if it means you miss out on a really, really good player.
Well, you have to look at it, and again, it's got to be available to you. So the Chargers were not rumored to be looking for that guy. Pierce is a nice player. Green Bay was not rumored to be looking for that. So if you don't got to jump the Chargers, you don't got to jump Green Bay. Minnesota, maybe, but they needed offensive line help, so you probably don't have to jump them. Then you watch the Giants jump up and get Jackson Dart. So now you're sitting there saying, well, now the Rams need this guy. So do we got to jump in front of the Rams? And, ultimately being the people who, let's face it, if somebody at 21, if somebody had really wanted Omarion Hampton or Matthew Golden really bad, I think that's where the Steelers would have been able to trade out. But trading out for a piece that nobody thought they would take,
it's not the point that they were worried about the Steelers taking them. They were just trying to get ahead of whichever team, they thought that was going to take that edge rusher.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen in a vacuum though. So you got, if nobody thinks you're going to take the guy, and nobody thinks the 2 or 3 teams after you're going to take the guy, why would they offer you a first round pick to get your pick when they know they can wait 2, 3, 4 picks down the line and pay
but they still paid the first round pick, Bob. So which difference does it make if they gave it to the Steelers or the Rams? It doesn't make any difference.
Because they didn't offer it to the Steelers.
Yeah, because the Steelers were in business, like I said.
My big thing with this pick is they passed on Golden, they passed on Hampton, they passed on Eminore. To me, that's what we'll go back and see if that's where they made the mistake at, is passing on those 3 guys. Because I really like Golden, to be honest with you guys. I really like Golden.
Have you not heard that we signed Robert Woods?
You know, what we're really going to see it, Dave, is if the Rams package their pick and the Falcons pick and get up and get one of those top quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to say. We should have been open for business for that kind of deal. All right, let's we've kind of beaten this to death. Let's move on to the 3rd round pick.
Yes, Caleb Johnson.
Caleb Johnson. Trent, why don't you kick us off this time?
I mean, you can't find a running back in this draft that's a better fit for the Arthur Smith scheme. I mean, he's a zone runner. He's the Najee replacement. He's big, powerful, and I think too much was made of the 40 time, to be honest with you. That dude broke a lot of long runs in college. So, I mean, I saw a stat the other day. He led the nation in the average number of guys in the box at like 7.2 or 7.4. Everyone knew the ball was going to him, and they still didn't do anything about it. He also, I think, was 2nd in the nation behind Genty at like 4.46 yards a carry after contact. How many times have we seen guys in Pittsburgh go down on first contact?
I have it right here. He averaged a monstrous 4.42 yards after contact. That's a lot.
This is a Mike Tomlin dream back. This is a Mike Tomlin dream back. Big physical.
And the whole Del Lally thing, he said the 4.540 is deceptive because he ran 22 miles per hour per GPS measurements, which averages out to a 4.340 run. Wow. So he says that the speed there, the 4.5, is deceptive.
It wasn't a 4.5. It was basically a 4.6.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what this was said.
Yeah,
so, we saw the 22 mile an hour thing, and it's legit. I mean, if you did it,
40 is the 40, but if the guy was clocked running 22 miles per hour, that's pretty fucking fast. And Draft Buzz had him ranked 3rd overall for running backs on their page when I was looking at stuff. I was like, oh wow, yeah, they were right behind Genty and Hampton. So I mean, I personally give it an A grade just because of the fact they got him when they got him, and where he was ranked at, and everything we're seeing about him. It's pretty impressive.
Bob, will you give it?
I've upgraded from a C+ to a B-. I still think based on, and I'm grading this based on what they said they wanted going into the draft.
I think that was
they wanted a home run hitter.
They didn't.
And they didn't. I don't think Caleb Johnson is a home run hitter. Is he a Steelers? Hey, I'll get 3 or 4 tough yards. I'll barrel into a safety and drag him for a couple of yards kind of back. Yeah. I think he's a more decisive runner as far as, the guy who's now going to be the backup for the Chargers. So, yeah, could he be better? Just off the decisive alone, he's slower than Jaylen Warren, who's not fast. Jaylen Warren was a 4.55, but he's quick. So if you're going to tell me he's going to run 100 miles through the hole and get 5 yards where Najee used to get 1, okay, I'm okay with that. And if he breaks the line, the one thing about Stack,
I think he's better than that, Bob. I think he's a lot better than that. I think he's selling him a little short.
I mean, do you think he's better than Najee at least? I mean,
yeah, he's better than Najee. Yeah.
Okay,
he's better than just a guy that's going to run full speed into the line and.
Well, here's the thing: the scouting report says that he actually takes his time hitting the hole. He waits.
Yeah, I was just going to say he's a lot closer to Le'Veon Bell than he is Najee Harris.
Bingo.
He has tremendous vision, tremendous patience. He sees the cut back lanes way better than Najee ever did.
Yep.
At least
that's what they say. The scouting report, that's what it 100%. Says.
Oh, I've seen him play plenty in the Big Ten. That kid's the real deal. I mean, and getting him in the 3rd round, he was a 2nd round pick in every mock. Yep. So value-wise, it's a great value pick.
Yeah, but when you look back at it, and what we're going to see is Tootin went 20 picks later. DJ Giddens went later.
Several rounds later.
Yeah, I mean, there are guys who, look, if it works out, it works out. It's just the reason I'm down on it is because it's not what the Steelers said they were going to do. Big fucking shock there. So yeah, I mean, he's familiar with the scheme. There are things to like. I'm not saying he sucks. He's not Ollie Gordon. I mean, Ollie Gordon would have been the night.
That's what I was afraid of.
Yeah,
me
too.
So, I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he has a great career. I mean, I'm rooting for him. He's been wearing black and gold for since high school apparently. So, I mean, I hope he does well. I question, and bear in mind, if the Steelers don't have a great year offensively, you may be talking about a guy who's an ideal scheme fit for an offensive coordinator who doesn't have a job here.
I mean, that's possible. I gave it an A. I think considering the round and considering the player, I think it's the best they could have done. I think all that speed back talk was just nonsense and a smokescreen. I don't think they ever intended on taking any one of those guys. The Jaden Blues, all those guys. They weren't going to do it. They had their mind. I told you guys before the draft, on my mock, I picked Ollie Gordon because Mike Tomlin has a type. Did you see the interview when he was talking about Caleb Johnson? His eyes were wide open. He was so excited to talk about, how he after contact, the yards after contact. He was just Tomlin has a type, and for that, I feel like I'm describing out the Smith to Dave again. For that type of back, this is the best possible scenario we could have gotten. Because they weren't going to take a 180-pound, 90-pound back. That
I will give Caleb credit for one thing, because when you have stacked boxes, and the point I started to make and I didn't finish it, when you have stacked boxes and you break the line, if you break through that front 7-8, there's nobody there. So, to his credit, he ran away from safeties who were there who had to stop him one-on-one. And I don't think your average cornerback, if he breaks that line, if you're down to corners and safeties, there's not going to be very many corners who want to hit that guy.
Yeah, it's just, I think he's patient enough to wait for cutback lanes to open up and let linebackers over pursue. And he will take a run that Najee could get 25 yards on and break it out for 45 yards. I mean, he has enough speed. And some guys have game speed. Some guys don't have just speed. But when the shoulder pads and everything goes on, like some guys just don't lose a step. His 40 time and his game speed, I mean, he just looks like he plays faster when he's in the game.
There's plenty of video showing him taking it 40, 50 yards to the house. Like, it's there.
Yeah.
I think people are going to really like him. It's night and day from Najee Harris. It's not even the same human being. They're about the same size, but that's about it. All right, let's go to Jack Sawyer. This one was surprising. I didn't see an edge. I've been doing Steelers mock drafts on my site for 7 or 8 years. I usually do about 4, and I can usually hit 1, 2, maybe 3 in those 4 drafts that the Steelers actually take. I got none. I didn't even sniff a pick. That was way off, and I did not see edge. And Jack Sawyer never entered my mind. Trent, you want to take us first on this one?
I love me some Jack Sawyer.
Oh, the Ohio State guy.
The Quinn Ewers strip sack fumble for a touchdown lives on in Ohio State lore forever. I have no idea why we drafted him. I mean, I have no idea why there was no need. He's going to be buried on a depth chart behind TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Nick Herbig, obviously. This felt like the theme, though, where he's a really good player against the run. We saw the issues with the run. So if you want to kind of put him into that Marcus Golden role from a couple of years ago, he fits that role really well. Character-wise, he's a great kid. I didn't see the need at that point. And I still feel like 4th-round picks are really valuable picks that make a roster, and they get playing time. So, like, I was a little confused on it, to be perfectly honest with you. But, I mean, I like Jack Sawyer. I just didn't see the need for the Steelers at that point. So I'm going to give it a C-.
Okay, interesting. Dave, what about you?
I went B. I love the value in this pick because here's the thing. Dane Brugler had him ranked 58th overall. Matt Miller, 62nd overall. Daniel Jeremiah, 70th overall. Eric Edmond hold him 35th overall. And we got him in the 4th round. I get it. You're right. Nobody saw us coming. We don't understand it. But, like, we don't know what's going to happen with TJ Watt. We don't know. 2, he's getting up there now. We don't know if there's going to be a major injury to Cap. There's a lot of different things we don't know. So,
is this guy the TJ replacement? I don't think so.
In a year he gets injured, yes.
For
you
short
got
term.
Herbig and you got
short, yeah.
So
short term.
Know, anything could happen. The value was there and they took it. He's really good against the run. He had 4.5 sacks in the playoffs. He had 63 total pressures, was ranked 4th in all FBS last season. The value's there. I would rather them, if they're going to take a guy, I'd rather it not be a reach than be this, where they got the value in the pick. So it could have been worse. They could have reached instead, and like some other teams we saw, but they didn't. They didn't reach at all. So
yeah,
I give it a B. Now, if you want to talk off like just basically need, then probably give it like a C, C minus, maybe even a D for the fact that they technically didn't need him. But as far as the player itself, I'm giving a B.
Bob?
I mean, I gave it a C. I'm sticking to my grade that I caught some grief on Twitter over this. But okay, I'm going to separate the grade from the player. If I'm grading the player, I'm probably going a B minus-ish, B plus-ish. He's not very athletic. I mean, he does play big in big moments. But if he's like your number 1 edge rusher, you probably don't have a great edge rush. As your number 3, maybe number 4, he's a nice solid depth piece. I think he could develop into an Alex Highsmith number 2, like a Robin type of edge rusher. But I don't get the fit for the Steelers. I mean, 4th round. Trent made a good point here. You could still get starters in the 4th round, and you're drafting for the best position depth on the team. Now, look, if this means TJ Watt, they're going to say fuck you and not pay him, and then getting a guy like Sawyer makes a lot of sense. But just if you watch, like, people, we laugh about Herbig on this show. Okay? We call him Hall of Fame Herbig. But bottom line is, he's the guy fastest off the edge in the NFL, which you wouldn't think, but he is. From the snap to the quarterback, he's the fastest guy in the NFL. He's got freakish skills. He's just, he's just small. He's small. I mean, I don't think he can be an every down edge ever. But that being said, if this is going back to the old Steelers philosophy of we don't pay edge rushers, we make edge rushers. You want to go get a big contract somewhere else? We'll go get another one. So if you're telling me this is preparing for Sawyer and Herbig to take over for Watt and Highsmith because of how much they're paying him, okay.
That's not a good scenario, Bob. That's a severe downgrade. Well, even if Watt's on one leg, that's still severe downgrade.
Until Watt and Highsmith, you think back since we went to the 3-4 for 40 years, every time it's a severe downgrade. Well, Lloyd and Green went away, and all of a sudden we got Gilden and Porter and guys like that. We have that defense under Dick LeBeau always had the next guy up who could come in and produce. Look, is anybody going to produce like TJ Watt does? No. Yeah. But if you're telling me my 2 edge rushers can get me 25 sacks a year, then and I don't have to pay him $80 million, maybe at that point, you got to start looking and saying, okay, well, wait a minute. But I don't think that's the plan because we know they're saying they want TJ Watt to stay. So if you want TJ Watt to stay, you're not going to trade Alex Highsmith more than likely. Now, okay, you're just going to have 4 great depth edge rushers. I mean, it's a plan, but Alec Ayamanor was there. You need a wide receiver. Joshua Farmer was there if you wanted to double up on defensive tackle.
I'll tell you what this is. We know what this is. This isn't a TJ replacement. This is an overreaction to the loss to the Ravens. Jack Sawyer is good against the run. Yaya Black, who we'll get to in a little bit, is good against the run. Derek Harmon, good against the run. They were damned and determined to improve their run defense. And that was priority 1 in this draft. And that's why Jack Sawyer's a Steeler. he's not going to replace TJ Watt. I mean, the guy had, I think it was 31-inch arms. Was 10th percentile. He's never going to be a plus pass rusher in this league. Never.
And he doesn't have good bend either. His bend is not good. He's more of a bull rushing type of guy, and I don't know how much he's going to do that at the next level.
He's a run defender. He's going to be a first and second talent guy.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to play well against the Ravens. But again, I think they're way too preoccupied over the Ravens.
Yeah.
That loss to the Ravens.
I love Jack Sawyer. I'm just being realistic.
Yeah. I give it a C+. I'm sure they're going to get good snaps out of this kid. I'm sure they will. But with all the other things they needed.
Yeah, just to Reginald Rivers' points, he's first time I've seen him in the chat in the show, and we thank him for joining. It's not that we don't like Sawyer. I think we all like the kid. And I don't know why you draft a fourth-string guy.
Yeah, in the 4th round.
Yeah.
Even though, like David said, that he had a great point. The value was there in the pick. Yeah. Probably for any other team but Pittsburgh, because he's 4th on the depth chart. I mean, but it was tremendous value in that pick. It's just it's difficult because he's about to be buried on a depth chart, and I don't know. I think that's where I'm at with it. I don't know.
So hypothetically, if the Steelers get crushed by the Bills this year in the playoffs and give up 400 yards passing, are we going to see 6 cornerbacks? I feel like they're so reactionary. It's like, how about you develop an offense so that you can get a lead on the Ravens and they can't run you out the building? Let's do it that way.
Or how about this? TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith keep missing games. Is he just a guy to be out there because they think they need 4 quality rushers because
also possible.
There's so many injuries between the two of those guys? Yeah. I mean, even Herbert missed time last year.
Yep.
That's true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, we've beaten Jack Sawyer to death. Let's move on to Yaye. Yeah. We'll get that right about mid-season. Yaye Black.
Yeah.
That's going to take me a while. Bob, you go first because you know his name better than any of us.
Yeah, literally.
I like the pick. I give this one a B+. His measurables were not great. Kind of some of the concerns that Dave had about Kenneth Grant. You got to be fair. You got to have the same concerns about Yaya Black. The only difference is you're getting him in the 5th round, whereas you had to get Kenneth Grant in the 1st round. There's upside here. I mean, they don't see him as just a nose either. When we first got the pick, I was like, why are we in the 5th round drafting a guy who's going to play 15 snaps a game? But they seem to think he's a guy who could develop into, in the sub packages, one of the 2 ends. So we'll see what happens. I like it. He's good against the run. It's an all too recurring theme. What I'm terrified of is, okay, yay, we got all these run stuffers and stoppers, and you're not going to run the ball on us, and Cincinnati's going to throw for 700 yards a game.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, they're going to line everyone against the Steelers is going to line up in 11 personnel and spread them out. And then all these draft picks not going to be work. Jack Sawyer's not going to see the field. Yaye Black's not going to see the field because they're going to be spread out. I mean, this is my point. Anyway, go ahead, Dave. You got to.
Yeah, I gave it a C. This was definitely a stop the Ravens pick. 6'6", 336, massive human being, has a wingspan over 7 feet. I was watching the film on him, and he absolutely trucks centers and guard, especially if they're undersized. They're in deep shit against this guy. He is disruptive as hell. Had 11 pass breakups in 24. I was more upset that they didn't go after Torrey Thornton or Za Frazier. I would have really liked them to go that route. You'd already drafted a D lineman, and I thought they would go D lineman at the end. At the end of the draft in the 7th round. So I gave a C. I like the player, but I really thought they could have got a wide receiver that could help here. The corner, Frazier. I wanted to see that and didn't see it, so I gave it a C.
Trent, what do you think?
I like this pick. I think he is going to be the run stuffer in the middle that we need. Obviously, Keanu Benton has not done very well, especially against double teams. I mean, that dude gets walked about 5 yards backward every single time he gets a double team. This guy ain't going nowhere. He'll eat up double teams. He hopefully in the Cleveland games, in the Baltimore games where you're about to see some heavy rush coming at you, this could be a guy who allows Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson to kind of run free. And that's the thing we need those two guys to do more than we saw last year. We saw Patrick Queen get eaten up by blocks a lot last year. He didn't play very well a lot of times. He didn't have that in Baltimore. They had the big nose tackles in Baltimore. We haven't had them here. I think this guy helps in that regard. Even at 10, 15 snaps a game, he's going to be in a rotation. You know what they're doing. They're trying to rotate all these D linemen in and out constantly, just like Philly does. So if this guy can develop into a 3-tech, then I think you have to say a 6th-round pick for a guy, or I'm sorry, 5th-round pick for this guy is a pretty good value. And I think he was like right in line or maybe one above where his projection was or something. Yeah. So it was pretty expected for him to fall here. So I'm going to give him a B.
I give it a B too. The best thing about this draft pick is maybe we can get Benton off the nose once and for all, play him at end where he belongs. And just by that, it's a win. I don't ever see him being anything more than those. You look at his measurables, he was 10th percentile in vertical, 22nd percentile in broad jump. He's not an athlete. It's just, he's a nose. He's a 336-pound nose. But this is the guy you're going to see 15 to 10 times a game, maybe more against Baltimore. But it's a 5th round, right? 5th round. So it's not the end of the world. Again, like Dave said, there were other guys out there. Evidently, the Steelers are not concerned with corner whatsoever. I'm absolutely petrified of this corner group. I don't think it's good at all.
Yeah, I want a solid 3rd guy. It's really what I wanted, but oh well.
Apparently the buzz is they're 1,000,000% sold that Corey Trice is the 3rd guy.
Yeah, I am not.
I heard
1% sold on Corey Trice making it through training camp. The guy's brittle. If that's your guy, all right, here we go. The guy got me. What do I hate now? Dave hates Darius Slay. I sure do. Put me in that camp.
Look, I mean, look, there's another old corner that's out there that I desperately want them to bring in, and I wonder if there's harsh feelings from the Patriots days. Go get Stephon Gilmore. He was a top 25 corner in the NFL last year. He has not fallen off.
I can't say he wouldn't be an upgrade over what they have as far as backups. I mean, another 34-year-old corner, though.
Yeah, but he was a top 25 guy. He started. I mean, we've been saying this now about Gilmore for 3 years because he keeps signing 1-year deals with different teams, and every year he goes out and plays great.
But it's so strange though. Why does he keep signing 1-year deals? I don't understand that either.
Because nobody wants to sign a corner that old to a long-term contract.
Everybody
guess so.
keeps expecting him to fall off the table, and 1 year he will.
Yeah.
1 year. Yeah.
This could probably be the year. All right, let's move on to.
Yeah, they bring him.
Yeah. It wouldn't be a Steelers draft without a little family matters involved in it. So here we go with a 6th-round pick.
Oh, wait a minute. We got to talk about the quarterback first.
Oh, I completely forgot about Howard. I skipped over Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I blocked it. I'm sorry, Trent. I know you're an Ohio State guy. But I kind of blocked it. I didn't want a quarterback in this draft at all, and I got one. Dave, you kick us off with Howard.
Trent, I'm going to make you really happy here. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of hyped about this pick. I didn't know that he was this very big-time mobile quarterback until I saw the John Gruden video on Twitter. I don't know, maybe the video's fake.
You got all humped up. John Gruden got to you, didn't he? He got to you.
I didn't know he had 470-plus carries that he took to the house in his career. I was like, wait, what? Then that was the first thing. And then he calls him Josh Allen. I'm like, what? Then
Dave's hooked.
What? I'm like, whoa. Then they start doing measurables. He's got the same measurables as Allen, as Ben. Then it gets even worse for me. Okay, so Warren Sharp on Twitter, he criticizes the Steelers all the time. This is what he had to put out there about Howard. He completed 73% of his passes versus the blitz, number 1 in this class. He was only sacked 12.2% of his pressures. That's also number 2 in this class. 36% big-time throw rate on throws 20-plus yards down the field. Number 1 in this QB class. Then you factor in the 4,000 yards throwing, 35 TDs, the 96.3 deep pass grade, 81st percentile in sack rate. Very good at avoiding sacks. I'm in love. No homo. I give it a grade of A+.
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 What's the over-under? Dave Stott's calling for Howard to be the starting quarterback.
There's just, look,
Week 2.
You can't throw this many good stats at me. I don't know. My brain is fried. Like I don't even know what the fuck to think.
Did you buy the Will Howard jersey yet, or is it on the way?
I'm like, why am I in love with this kid this bad? Like I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know. Like,
all right, Trent, you're the Ohio State guy. Talk him down a little bit, or don't pump him up anymore, please.
I'm going to tamper some expectations in this one, but
Thank you.
still got some homerism coming through here. So, like, he definitely can run. Number one, like his Kansas State tape is ridiculous running the football. He just didn't have to do it at Ohio State. He wasn't asked to do it very often. When you have 2 running backs going within the first 2 rounds, and you've got receivers running all over the field, like he doesn't have to do a lot. The good thing though, he was horrible at accuracy for 3 years, and then they fixed it at Ohio State. So that's going to be the thing that I'm interested to see. Is this another part of the Ryan Day scheme, figuring things out for a guy, getting the first guy open so many times? And let's be honest, Jeremiah Smith, I mean, I could fucking throw to that dude and complete some passes because, like, he's ridiculous. So
plus you had like Buka and Henderson and Judkins. That team was loaded.
I mean, you've got just stacked guys all over the place. But the thing is, this is the part for me that kind of gets me is I watched him all year, and I kept saying, like, I felt like he was a 7th round guy. I felt like he was a 7th round guy, and then the playoff hit, and that dude lit it up, and he was making legit big time throws. And I thought you saw him taking real strides towards being an actual NFL quarterback at that point. Can he carry that into the NFL will be the next question. They allegedly fixed some footwork with him. There was a lot of talk about Ryan Day working with him at after the Michigan week, all the way leading up to the playoff, and putting a ton of time into his footwork. And whatever he did, it clicked. So if he carries that through, you possibly got like a major steal in the 6th round. I think it was a great pick, and the value is unbelievable. To take a guy, if you were taking a flyer, this was the guy to take a flyer on in the entire quarterback class, in my opinion. You weren't going 1st round, obviously. This is the guy you take the flyer on, and he should have been in the 3rd round.
Bob?
Yeah. All right, look, in the 6th round, I don't hate it, but miss me with this Big Ben Josh Allen comparison, because it's not there. Okay. Well, if we start talking about quarterbacks who have 70-yard runs, how Tommy Frazier do in the pros? Wasn't very good. He had a strong arm too. He could throw the ball a mile. He couldn't hit anybody. But
you're not comparing Tommy Frazier to it couldn't be any different, Bob.
Well, what I'm saying is, just because you can run the ball does not make you a great quarterback. Now, look, what I will say, all the stuff that I say about Lane Kiffin quarterbacks, I'm going to reverse it with Ryan Day. He made a huge impact on this kid. And could he progress? Could there be something here? Yes, absolutely. I watched his stuff at the combine, and I came away from it thinking, oh my God, he may be even worse accuracy-wise than I thought he was. And especially but if he keeps working with Palmer and he keeps working on his footwork, he's a 6th round pick. He could turn into a low-end starter, high-end backup. But if you think this guy is the second coming of Big Ben or Josh Allen, I got news for you. Those kind of guys don't go in the 6th round.
I mean, it's similar body types, but I don't think anybody's saying that he's going to be either one. I mean, Gruden was saying that, but Gruden's Gruden. He's a hype man.
My problems, there's just too many goddamn good stats. Fuck. It was like stat overload with like all the good things. I was like, good Lord.
I'll tell you one thing that'll keep him off the field. So if anybody's ever played basketball, you ever heard of the heat check?
Yes.
Like he's the fucking heat check guy. He hits a couple passes in tight windows, and there's going to be a fucking third. And it's going to get some hands on it, and it's not going to be his team. He will throw that bitch right in there. He is not scared.
I kind of like that in a quarterback. I'd rather that than, Kenny Pickett, who was afraid to throw it anywhere.
He's got some gunslinger in him.
Before you go, Dave, I do want to address this because I saw this on Twitter today and I commented to a few people. He was the only quarterback with a championship. AJ McCarron won a championship. You want him as your fucking quarterback?
Solid backup.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he was a solid backup. That's all
Tim
I'm saying.
Tebow won a championship. You want him as your quarterback?
That kid was never given a real chance.
Tim Tebow again. I give it a B.
It is what it is. I get it, but
I'm saying as a
just 'cause the
sixth
guy
rounder, if this kid's a solid fucking backup,
and that's why I agree. I give it based on where they got him, based on the potential. I give it a solid B plus A minus. But
these fuckers keep convincing me though. Like I'm like, how is all these stats this good for a sixth rounder? That's what's like. It's just,
listen. Let's be honest.
I don't know.
Anybody not named Jackson Dart in this draft, you could throw them all in a bucket and pull out a name. They're all the same. So you might as well take that flyer on a guy who won a national championship.
Pretty sure Cam Ward would not be in that bucket.
Well,
I was being kind of sarcastic with it, but you get my point.
Yeah.
I think it's like Trent said, it's a good risk. I mean, there is no risk. It's a good dart throw. You might have something. He's got the size. He's got the arm. He's got the athleticism. What? At this point in the draft, why not? I mean, I would rather them go position player, but even who are they going to draft in the sixth round that's honestly going to make a difference? So it's 1 in a million. So you might as well take a shot at the quarterback.
I totally agree. I mean,
I give it a B.
Yeah, like I said, I don't hate the idea. I just these comparisons. I mean, he's going to lead us to a Super Bowl. Yeah, okay. Well,
yeah, well,
no, I sure hope so.
Yeah, he's a guy that, worst case scenario, you have a sixth round rookie on a 4-year contract as your backup quarterback.
Yep.
That's not a bad place to be.
Yeah.
With upside.
Yep.
And if it turns into a starter, then great.
Yeah, then you really hit a lot of
because you still want your starter next year. That's why we waited till the sixth round anyway.
Yep.
But if you happen to hit on this, you just saved yourself quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, is it out of the world thinking that he could be Mason Rudolph, or even maybe a little better? I think that's very possible.
Yes. If he turns into Mason Rudolph's career with mobility,
with mobility,
it's a great pick.
He could come in short yardage packages too. Honestly, 235 pounds, 237 pounds. He could be a short yardage, tush push type guy.
There you go. Could do that too. All right, I jumped the gun with this guy.
Easy.
What is it?
See, A+. Easy.
Dave's over the moon. Gruden got you going, buddy. All right, let's move on to Mark Bruner.
It's Carson Bruner.
Carson Bruner. I'm having a night. Mark Bruner's son. Because the Steelers got to have their family. So who wants to take this one? I actually was kind of impressed with his athletic ability when I looked it up. He was actually not too bad an athlete.
I think this is the so long Mark Robinson pick.
Oh, I don't know, man. Robinson's a pretty good special teams player now. He's kind of established himself.
Yeah, not to the point where he's 4 years in. He hasn't learned the position. I mean, at some point, it's nice to have a special teamer, but this kid, I think, is the Mark Robinson replacement.
What do you get? You got a grade for him, Bob?
I'd give it for a seventh round pick, I'd give it a solid C. I don't like the fact they drafted a legacy pick, but it is the Steelers. But when you watch the kid's tape, maybe. He's a maybe. I don't understand why you pick a fucking linebacker at this point. I really don't. It was the one position I did not think we would draft, and of course we drafted.
Dave, what about you?
I went C as well. When I was looking up some of the stat stuff, says he's a 4-phase special teamer. He had 23 career tackles on special teams. He was the special teams MVP for Washington in 2023. He can also long snap, which I thought was kind of interesting. What else? I didn't even know that. In 2024, he was one of only 2 Power 4 defenders at least 104 tackles and 3 interceptions. So, okay, I gave a C. There were other players. I really wanted Isaiah Bond, guys. I'm sorry.
Well, luckily
he didn't even get signed as UDFA, right? He still hasn't
Yeah.
signed, right?
Signed.
He's yeah.
Something's going on.
There has to be more going on than just the one allegation. There has to be more to this because I just to have that speed and what he can do. Oh, I don't know. I wanted him in the 7th round.
Well, but remember though, that speed was kind of bullshit. He's a 4.4, maybe high 4.3 guy. There's a lot of those guys.
Why do you say it's bullshit?
Well, he said he was going to be the fastest guy in the history.
Oh,
of the,
there,
of the
yeah.
combine,
But he ran
yeah.
a 4.3.
No,
Yeah,
he ran a 4.4
at the pro day. He ran a 4.4 flat, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Huh.
At the combine, he was 4.4. I don't know what he did at his pro day.
I could have sworn
I think Dave's right. He might have run a 4.
He ran a 4.3. I'm pretty sure. I can check though. That's fine.
Yeah, not a low 4.3 though. I think it would
4.38 maybe.
Yeah.
I'll check.
Something like
I'll
that.
find it.
Which is
What do you think
blazing,
of it?
but it's kind of.
I mean, I actually agree with Bob on this. I think he's the special teamer. I was going to give it a solid C, but now that I know he can replace Kunitz and Mark Robinson, this has to move to an A, right? Like, is he a two position guy? I mean,
yeah, I guess it's possible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely going to be a core special teams type guy. So, but I mean, if you can get a good guy who's solid tackler and has a ton of experience in special teams already, then might as well add to the room.
I mean,
why does it have here? He ran 4.39 at the combine.
I don't know.
Maybe they adjusted it after the fact, but I seem to remember the 4.4 because everybody was like, he's fastest ever, and he ran 4.4.
Yeah, I don't know. It says here at the combine 4.39.
Huh. I think that was his pro day.
They have it was a C for combine, not P for pro day on the stuff here. So I don't know. I'm just telling you, he's fast though, and a great fucking route runner. Like he'd be a perfect guy to plug in the slot for us. With him and the other two, we'd give.
There's got to be something coming out about him.
I kind of wonder if there's some type like jail time or something coming or something crazy because like there's no way this guy's hanging around just undrafted, unsigned, on everything.
In the beginning of this process, he was a potential first-round pick, and now he's undrafted, unsigned, everything. It's crazy.
Well, as far as Carson Bruner goes, though, I just like I had my guys. I like to see them grab, and you know, you're like Carson Bruner, what? And then you're like, is that Mark Bruner's son? And yeah, it is. You're like, here we go. Got to keep the family together.
I was kind of pleasantly surprised. He ran 4.58 at the combine. That's 81th percentile for linebackers. I mean, vertical jump wasn't that great, 33 inches. Broad jump, 119. That was 63rd percentile.
They love their special teams guys towards the end.
100 tackles.
That's just how it is.
3 interceptions.
I didn't know he could long snap. I'm with Trent. I want to change my grade. I'm not going to go A+, but I'm going to go A.
I'll go B on that one. All right, and Dante Kent is the last one. Anybody want to take a shot at this one?
I will tell you this: if it turns out, I don't understand why you draft a punt returner unless they're moving on from Calvin Austin. But if he can convert punt returner into kick returner, and he's our starting kick returner, I definitely give this a B. 6 foot, 189, pretty fast. I mean, yes, but I think his NFL is more return guy, and maybe he develops into a corner down the road. I think if there's any reason why we have to stick him out there on defense for the first couple of years, then something has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, Somber's right. He played a lot of his snaps at in the slot in college. He can compete with Beanie Bishop and the other guy that they signed there. And let's face it, I mean, it won't take much to get Calvin off punt returns. He's not that good. He's not good. So if this guy's got a pulse and can do a little bit of returning, he had 1 career touchdown as a punt returner in college. So
yeah, I was watching his returns. There's something there from a return standpoint. So I think he's a returner who just happens to play cornerback.
I think I read he ran a 4.39, I think.
Yeah.
So he's got some speed. They could do worse in the 7th round.
He led Mac in passes defended, but was the second worst in big plays given up.
I saw that stat. Yeah.
Real analytics, they gave him an in-game athleticism score of 94.8. Scouting report says loose hips, excellent mirror ability, and dynamic special teams potential. I wanted Kobe Bryant though. Is it Kobe Bryant?
Yep.
Is that how you say it? You
Yeah.
say it just like the.
Yes.
I wanted him. He was a projected, I think, 6th rounder. It fell to the 7th. That I wouldn't have mind seeing them snag as a potential corner to have on the team. But again, they go special teams. So, but I gave it a D because I like I said, I was really upset. I really wanted Bryant, Bond, or Alexander from LSU.
Trent, what do you think?
I didn't know a ton about him going into this, but after kind of looking at some things, I mean, his strengths on NFL.com talk about he's a guy who could be competing as a gunner, which we're still going to need a gunner right now. Our whole wide receiver room is full of like 5'8", 112-pound guys that are soaking wet. If like you guys are saying, if he's a punt returner, you could possibly move Calvin Austin off that. Or even, hopefully he can return some kicks. We need someone else who's going to return kicks. You're not going to put Jaylen Warren back there unless he just outright loses the running back competition to camp. But I don't think that's the game plan. Like, I think they're still going to want to do split carries. And my God, can we please get rid of Cordero Patterson for the love of freaking God? Like, I can't watch that guy average 11 yards of fucking return.
Yeah, I don't know what they're waiting on.
Will Howard is running back kicks.
He's better than Cordero Patterson, I can tell you that.
Yeah, right.
Last year they
him.
talked about Justin Fields doing it.
Yeah, Justin Fields. When you're talking athlete, that's a different animal now.
Yeah.
Will Howard's good. He's ridiculous. All right, we're running kind of long. Any last final thoughts on the draft here before we kick out? Overall grade? You want to give an overall grade, Bob?
Overall, I give it a solid B, with A upside. I mean, the hard part about drafts when you look at them is 2-3 years in. Where are you? And really, by the end of that 3rd year, are you going to pick up your 1st round picks option? Are you going to re-sign those guys going into the year? So, I think that this is a very meat and potatoes draft. I don't think these are guys who are going to be like, oh wow, these are a bunch of superstars we got. I mean, even if Derek Harmon is good as a 3-4 end, let's face it, he's going to be like, if he has a Cam Hayward type career, he's going to be 7-8 years in before people start talking to him about it as one of the best. So, yeah, I give it a solid B. I don't hate any pick that we made. Even the Jack Sawyer pick has potential, even though I gave it a C. I mean, I think that's the worst pick we made, but overall, yeah, B.
Dave?
Yeah, I went B. Warren Sharp had this also to say that I thought was pretty cool. He said the Steelers had the number 8 best draft based on value. But if you focus on what they did with higher value draft picks, the Steelers ranked number 6 in draft value through the first 5 rounds. Caleb Johnson at 83 when he was projected 54. Sawyer at 123 when he was projected 65. And he also said Will Howard in round 6 overall. Says they had a top 10 draft even though they passed on Shedeur Sanders.
I see guys in the chat talking about the unrestricted free agents they signed. We're going to do that next podcast, guys. We're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into the UDFAs on the next podcast. Trent, you want to give an overall grade?
I'm right in line with the first two guys here. I got them at a solid B. There is a ton of upside, I think, to this draft. I think the Caleb Johnson pick may end up being a little bit more of a sneaky pick than people realize. That could probably skew this a bit. The Jack Sawyer pick, I agreed, it didn't make sense to me unless they're just really worried about health from TJ Watt. I don't think it has anything to do with TJ leaving, but more so, health of TJ, health of, Alex that's had injuries. So there's good value. I think the Will Howard pick could be the one that ends up being the sneakiest pick of this draft. So we'll see.
If Howard hits, man, it could be. Yeah. That's what I said.
It's a home run draft if he hits. Yeah, it's a home run draft if he hits.
I know.
I broke this up into two things. As far as stopping the Ravens, it's an A+ draft. Against the rest of the league, I gave it a solid B draft. I like Will Howard later on. I do like Caleb Johnson. You can't argue with Derek Harmon in a vacuum if you take the trade stuff out. It's a good draft. They filled a couple needs. A couple of draft picks were in positions where kind of makes you scratch your head a little bit, but I think overall solid. I think we won't look back at this draft and say it was terrible. I think there'll be a couple of good plays. And like you guys said, if Will Howard hits, it's a home run.
Great job, Con. Great job.
We'll see. TBD.
TBD.
You said Weidl's name wrong there. You want to try that again?
There it is. There it is. There it is.
Oh, so
all right, guys.
Weidl better than Colbert? ... To be continued.
Uh-oh.
No.
Uh-oh.
Bite your tongue.
Shots
No one's
fired.
better than Colbert.
Shots fired.
Thank you guys in the chat. You guys are really good today. We had a lot. I couldn't even keep up with all the comments in the chat. Hit that subscribe button. You know that's important to us. The like buttons, all that helps out a lot. We're gonna have an old buddy on the next podcast. Tony Serino is gonna join us on Thursday, and we're looking forward to that. He hasn't been on in a long time, coming out of retirement. Anything else before we leave? That's it. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Trent, for coming on, and we'll see you on Thursday night.
Well, he's not weird or anything, is he?
No, he's totally normal. I think you should be working at the snack bar.
You better relax, Bob.
I mean, normal for us.
All right, let's go.
Now you've had enough.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
Okay, crazy guy. I'm gonna go home now.